What is going on, everybody? I hope you are having a wonderful day. And today we are going to talk about the pros and cons of Denver, Colorado. And hey, if this is your first time to the channel and you would like to know more about Denver, moving to Denver, anything about living in Denver, feel free to hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure and hit that bell icon for notifications. This way you can be the first person to hear about all the new stuff going on in Denver and learn more about the place. Now, if you don't know already, my name is Michael and I get calls from people all the time that are moving to Denver, and I would love to help you if that's kind of who you are watching this video. Whether you're moving next month, 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, whenever. My contact info is below, so feel free to shoot me an email, send me a text, whatever floats your boat. I'd be more than happy to help you in whatever way I can. But with that being said, let's just get right into it. All right, the first thing I want to talk about is the proximity to the mountains. Now, Denver is obviously known for being close to the mountain range, but from the most part, pretty much throughout Denver, you can kind of see the mountain range. So you're really close to it. So if you're moving here and wanting to do a lot of skiing, hiking, mountain biking, you name it, you are not that far from it. You know, if you work during the week and just want to hit up there over the weekends, it's not that far. And you know, the other thing is we have the mountains. A lot of places don't have access to stuff like that. So the fact that you have the ability to go and ski every weekend from, you know, half the year is, you know, a great pro. People travel here for vacation just to go skiing for a couple days. You know, not everywhere has mountains. So you can do on a weekend what some people travel once or twice a year to do. So the fact that you can do that is pretty cool. The second pro that you might notice, and depending on who you are, you might not see it like this, but everyone here is pretty active. It's not uncommon to see somebody doing 50 different activities throughout the year: skiing, biking, fishing, hiking, rock climbing, you name it. There are endless outdoor activities here, and you're just naturally gonna be doing more things outside. You're gonna get invited to go participate in things, sports, events, all sorts of things, because Coloradans just like to go do things all the time. It's almost ridiculous how much they like to do it, but that is one of the reasons why we were ranked the #1 most fit state. We're just a very active lifestyle out here. So when you get here, you're probably just gonna accidentally get roped into things and become more active. Healthier lifestyle, and it's usually fun. It's almost as if you're getting peer pressured into doing these things. At first you might not like them, but eventually you're gonna get hooked and you're gonna be wanting to do them every weekend. Number 3 is the weather. It is beautiful here year round, and you're gonna get used to it. It's sunny all the time. The seasons aren't as bad as other places, so your winters aren't gonna be as cold and your summers aren't gonna be as hot. So it's a great mix of both. And by the time you get sick of one season, it's already time for the next season. So it's a nice cycle that we got going on here, and lovely to have nice weather all year round. The number 4 pro, and again, some people might not care for this, but sports. We have all the major sports. We have football, hockey, basketball, baseball. We have soccer. So, you know, if you're really into that kind of stuff, you're gonna find plenty of sports bars around here to go have a great time. Or if you want to go see a game in person, it's not that hard to do. It's, you know, a little bit more traffic on those days, which is another thing. You know, on those days, you're gonna notice that there's gonna be a lot more traffic. So if you're traveling anywhere, try and avoid game day. But for the most part, it's great. Fans love it here, and they get excited about games, especially when teams are doing a little well. So great place for sports fans. Number 5, and my personal favorite, it is a very dog-friendly state. So here in Colorado, we love our dogs, especially in Denver. Dogs almost have the right to vote here. They're practically citizens. So they're treated very well. There's tons of dog parks that you can find all over Denver. So if you're trying to take your dog out for a little exercise, it's really easy to do. Tons of people that, you know, like to get together with all their dogs and, you know, have a big party. So it's not uncommon to see a bunch of dogs as you're going through. You're gonna drive to work and you're probably gonna see 20 or 30 dogs. It's impossible not to. So I guess if you're maybe not necessarily a dog person, maybe it's not the place for you, but you know, you can stay inside and, you know, enjoy yourself. The rest of us out here are just gonna continue enjoying our pups and love it. So maybe if you're not a dog person, this wouldn't be considered a pro for you, but for the most part, people usually like dogs, and the owners here are fairly responsible. They usually pick up after their dogs, which is nice. Everyone's usually pretty considerate, although you will from time to time run into people that aren't necessarily the best dog owners, which is unfortunate, but that's just the world we live in today. But for the most part, if you have a dog and you're looking to move somewhere, Denver's a great place for dogs. All right, our last pro, number 6, is there's just always something to do here in Denver. You can easily find activities throughout all of Denver, regardless of where you live in Denver, or even in some of the surrounding areas. It's not far to go find something. There's always concerts going on. Red Rocks Amphitheater is very popular for that exact thing. If you are into being active, working out, all sorts of stuff, there are so many gyms and like fitness clubs. You're gonna have a hard time finding one that you like, just because there's so many. You're gonna want to commit to 4 of them that are in 5 different places, and it's gonna be a little bit hard to juggle all that. So I would just find 1 or 2 that you really like and kind of commit to that. But for the most part, there's just everything. Everything's a short drive away. If you're going downtown, it's not very far from most places, especially if it's just for like a one-night thing. But for the most part, you have everything you could possibly want out here. So it's just, there's always something to do. You're not gonna be bored out here, to say the least. Now let's get into the cons. Denver's not the most perfect city here in the United States. It's up there, but I'd say there are a few drawbacks. The first being that we're very high in altitude, and we're also a very dry state. So if it's the first time that you're visiting Colorado or first time moving here, don't be surprised when you go up a flight or 2 of stairs and you are just gasping for air, because it happens to everybody. Even people that are in great shape are confused when they come here because they don't think the altitude's gonna affect them that much. So I'd say take it a little slow. Eventually you're gonna get used to it and you're not even gonna notice it. But for the most part, it's just something to consider. If you go hiking, when you first come out here, bring plenty of water and don't get too crazy on your first hike. Don't try and hike the tallest mountains on your first day here. Ease into that kind of stuff just so you can kind of work yourself up to that kind of stuff. And you really don't want to be the person that just moved to Colorado that's getting helicoptered out because of altitude sickness and you couldn't get off the mountain. So that'd probably be the number 1. The other thing is it's really dry, so I'd invest a little bit in some chapstick. I would keep one in your car, keep one at work, one in your nightstand, everywhere, because every now and then your lips are gonna be chapped like that and it's not fun. So you're gonna wanna have that chapstick ready to go. Number 2, and this is probably common for most larger cities, but the traffic, not the most fun thing to do. For the most part, it's not that bad, especially since people started working from home. I'd say traffic's gotten a little bit better. But for the most part, if there's a game going on, you're gonna run into some traffic. It's gonna take you a little bit extra time going home from work. One thing you can do is, try and avoid when people go to work and when people leave work. So if you try and drive around, 7 to 9 a.m. and then again from like 4 to 6, you avoid those hours. If you're going out for errands, you're gonna save yourself a lot of trouble waiting, probably not bumper to bumper traffic, but it's gonna take you a little bit longer to get places. Same with the weekend. If there are games going on, you're gonna wanna avoid the major roads because people are gonna be coming and going to the game pretty much all day. So you're gonna get a little jammed up and you don't wanna delay yourself going somewhere if you just didn't think. You're like, oh man, Broncos game going on today. Plan a little bit ahead of time and you'll be just fine. Now, the last con I have is the high cost of living here in Denver. It's definitely got worse in the last 5-6 years for sure. But for the most part, compared to some of the other major cities, it's actually not that bad. Like LA, New York, something like that. It's not that crazy. When you get people moving from there, they're like, man, it's so great here. It's so cheap. But if you're moving from pretty much anywhere else, you're gonna be a little bit thrown off by how expensive things are here. So if you're looking for something a little bit more affordable, I would kind of look at the outskirts of Denver, just because it's going to be, the further away you get from the center of Denver, the cheaper it gets. The cheapest places are usually kind of on the outskirts, especially on the eastern side that isn't towards the mountains, because people love the mountains. So if you're getting closer, you're going to be paying a little bit more. But if you get further away and you're getting out from the city, it's going to be a little bit more affordable to either buy, or if you're just renting temporarily, that's probably the place you're going to want to look. Denver might not be the place for you if that's something that you're concerned about. So in my own opinion, I think the pros definitely outweigh the cons. Denver is a great place to live. I've been here for quite some time now, so I really enjoy it. There are very different areas that you can go to, and it has pretty much everything you're gonna want in a city. It's got mountains, it's got outdoor activities, it's got the city life, and people are relatively friendly here. So that's also a big boost to the city. But you know, it's not for everyone, so we understand if it's not the place for you. However, everybody has their own preferences. So if those cons are, you know, too much for you, understandable, but for the most part, the pros are pretty sweet. So with all that being said, thank you for watching the video. I hope you learned a little bit about Denver and, you know, some of the things they have to offer while considering some of the things that, you know, might not be so great. And again, don't forget, if you are planning on moving to Denver or, you know, one of the surrounding areas, if you have questions or just would like a little extra help, feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the comments below. More than happy to help you kind of make whatever move out here as smooth as possible. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, see ya.